Touch anything else.
Good evening. I'd like to call the August 21st, 2023 meeting of the Hampden Board of Selectmen to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is being held in the Board of Selectmen's office at the Hampden Town Hall. We are broadcasting the meeting over Zoom as well, and we are also recording it. Is there anybody online who is also recording it? Looks like a big no. Okay. Okay, first thing on the agenda. Thank you, sir. What? Jello? We have some minutes. And the July 24th, open and executive session. Looking at the regular meeting of the.
I'm looking at the regular meeting.
I don't know how long it is.
Shocking.
I know. Moving 2 weeks. Come on.
It's MET.
September 15th can't come soon enough. One over here too.
Come on. Oh, brother.
Why, yours double-sided?
Board is
We didn't give you the other
What
side.
have I got?
B-O-R-D.
Yeah.
B-O-R-E-D. I know you may be.
Board.
I know you may be.
Uh-oh.
Other than the Microsoft Word upgrade, obviously we need. Any comments on the meeting of, the regular meeting of July 24th?
Move approval?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Executive session also on July 24th. I think this summarizes what happened correctly.
Move approval?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
On executive session minutes, Don, we've had this discussion before. Can you verify, do we need to take a vote on whether we release or do not release? I don't think, because when an issue is done, that's the point you can do, but I think we can also vote to continue not releasing
Yeah, if
them.
there's private information.
Right, yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think we need to take.
Do we need to
a vote.
formally do that?
Yeah.
Okay, if you could check that, maybe
To
bring that
review
forward
them
next
at
time. Thank you.
some meeting.
Right, because we have many completed ones that we would need to put to bed. All right, the meeting of July 31st. This was the joint meeting with the Wilbraham Board, Select Board, soon to be.
What about the dispatch?
It was nice of you to put their permit stuff in.
Listen, I covered the meeting. I figured I better put it in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, consent agenda.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I've asked before about, is that something we should be entertaining?
I don't understand it.
You know, basically we're saying, okay, they can have a thing, oh, it rained that day, can we have it the following day? And that's all well and good. You're giving trust in the people that are
Oh,
doing the work for you.
what are you talking about?
And said,
They
what they talk
changed
about.
The permits.
Oh, the permits,
How
oh.
they
oh,
define a
oh,
consent
oh,
agenda.
Oh, yeah, oh, I
Yeah.
understand, yeah, okay.
Yeah, let's look
Hey, Ted.
and see what.
She says they're doing it tomorrow morning.
Motion to
Oh,
approve July
yeah.
31st.
Tomorrow, yeah.
All right.
See, I don't do it till the next day.
out, the cord is.
I don't do it till the next day that I deliver it. That's what it is. I'm day off because.
Keep up the motion.
Move approval.
I thought you did it.
I moved.
Oh, you did? Oh, I'll second it then.
All right then, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Everybody gets theirs in there, that's nice.
Take, that's my take, that's my take
Oh,
home
oh,
file.
that's
Okay.
right. Oh, no, you
All right,
said
we're
that.
back. First thing on the agenda is the continuance for the dog hearing. And we have Pam, thank you so much for giving us the recap.
Yes,
Okay. So we are back here today because last week we met and we had a pretty vibrant discussion about the dog at the Nelson's house and interaction with, can I call you Teresa? Teresa, your house and your dog as well. We had some history that Shelley had shared with us about previous issues. We had also covered the fact that we had a hearing in 2021 when we formally labeled the dog a dangerous dog at that point. And I believe we had conditions, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, which included muzzling when walking, total control, basically, et cetera. As I think Don covered in pretty good detail last time, the MGL does not allow a lot of latitude for the town, for municipalities, in what can happen afterwards. There are fines which can be imposed. And I think part of the conversation that I heard from the board was that that's all well and good, but does that address any danger problem? So that was our concern at that point. We asked at that point that we would reschedule another meeting a week later and ask if there were any remedies or remediations that you could think of that would possibly allow us to not go to the last option. We cannot order the dog out of town. That is not allowed. The dog could have left town on your own. I assume it hasn't. Okay. So we have that issue in front of us. I believe also today we have, Teresa, your neighbor as well, to talk about something as well. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Thank you. So before we get into what we're going to go further, I wanted to get a little information again on the incident that happened August 8th, August 2nd.
August 8th.
Okay, letter. So, your name? I'm sorry.
Carla, Laramie?
Hi.
Hi.
So August 2nd, Teresa came to your house looking for help.
Yes, and I drove her back up her driveway. And that tiger dog was out there barking, going crazy, and she was opening my car door. I said, please keep it shut because the dog was just going wild. And
It was on her property or from the neighbor?
it was on her property, yeah. And she's like, well, try beeping your horn, try and like scare it, maybe it'll go home. And it wouldn't, it was just going at my car, barking, ripping up her lawn with its paws. I seen dirt and grass flying.
I already have.
I'm sorry, there's 5 people waiting, it says.
And so, are we good to go?
Top right.
Yeah, top right in the middle. Thank you, I'm sorry, we just to make sure everyone's allowed in. Thank you.
Okay, so then I ended up calling 911 because it wasn't stopping, and she was afraid it was gonna maybe attack her dog. Well, I was afraid, I was in my car. I can't imagine being out of my car, because it was going crazy, just barking and lunging at my car. I said, shut that door, because I'm afraid it's gonna kill me. So I called 911, and it was like really crazy call, because you could hear the yelling and a lot of commotion. They're like, tell her to just be quiet a minute, because the dog was going crazy. And so by the time the police officer came, the dog was gone. It ran back into the bushes, back to, I guess, the Nelsons. It was in that direction.
North, south,
But if, like, nothing was scaring that dog, I was afraid. And then the police officer came and was talking to her, and then she's like, yeah, you can go. So then I left, but I had an encounter that I totally forgot about, that I remember. It was either a year or 2 years ago in the summer. We were in the driveway, me and my 2 young kids, and they were coloring chalk in the driveway. And I heard, Tiger, Tiger, and I'm thinking, what the heck is Tiger? I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm looking around, and a few minutes later, this dog comes running really fast, like it's gonna come at us. I grabbed my kids and ran in the house, and by the time I shut the door, the dog was at my door with its face in my door, and it's not like, let me in. I was like, I didn't even know this dog. That was the first time I ever seen that dog. But it just hit me because I forgot all about that. I'm like, that was Tiger. I'm like, because they were calling Tiger.
Right now, my question there would have been, the timing is important because
Yeah,
say it was prior to February 4th of 2021, where we hadn't declared the dog a dangerous dog, and then asked for remedies taken care of.
right.
If it was after that, that would be kind of a violation. If it was before that, it would be.
Oh,
Yes.
I would say it's definitely after that because it was in the summer.
Okay,
Yeah. Yep,
okay, I appreciate that.
yep.
So the dog came down your driveway, obviously didn't have a muzzle on.
Yeah, no, and I didn't know the dog. I'm like, you never know. Like, I got bit a couple times in the past, like when I was younger, so you never know what a dog's gonna do. So I grabbed them real quickly, because you just never know.
Sure.
Ran in the house, and it was like right after us. I just made it in the door and shut it, and it was right there at my door, like, let me in. I did. And that was it. And then the next time I saw the dog was when she came banging on the door, and I was afraid of it. I mean, I got home and I had to calm down for a half an hour after the incidents that just happened, because I was all shooken up, thinking that dog was gonna attack me, and I'm in my car.
Sure.
I can't imagine being out of my car.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking it's gonna like rip my face apart, but I don't know it, but it's just the way it was being.
But in the
Scared
2
me.
years after your incident, you hadn't seen the dog on your property at that point?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Appreciate it. Good. All right, so back to the question then. Have you, in the week, thought of any remedies that is going to help our decision making?
We have, do you want to go or do you want me to?
You can explain it if you want.
So, well, we came up with sort of a two-part plan. The slider, the alleged slider that she got out, opens onto a back porch. And the back porch is partially solid walls and partially screened. So we started thinking about that, and what we decided to do, we did some research online, and we have purchased, it came today, we have purchased 1/4-inch steel mesh screening that we're gonna reinforce all of the screening with. And the two doors that exit from the porch, we're installing safety locks that lock behind you when you exit. And you can get back in with a key code or a key, but they automatically snap shut behind you, and the pneumatic hinges that cause the door to really snap shut behind you. So in other words, if we go out in the porch and we exit, and go out the door's gonna close behind us and it's gonna lock.
How quickly? I mean, obviously, we all experience hydraulic or pneumatic door closures, and they don't seem to like close that fast behind you. It seemed like we enough time for a quick animal to shoot out that door.
Well, you gotta, if we're exiting out the door, we have already closed the slider behind us, remember?
Okay, so this is a
The
double,
slider is
this is a
still
double
our
system here.
primary-
Okay,
Our
yep.
primary way of keeping Tiger in the house is the slider.
Mhm.
So, but if we exit through the slider, obviously, you know, we could, I suppose, come up with a double lock. Right now, you can only lock it from inside the house. I guess maybe we could figure out a way to lock it from outside if we exit that way. I don't know, we didn't look into that, didn't think of that till just a
Well, I
second.
did, I found that you can, that was the next thing we were gonna order.
So we could do that. We got the locks and the pneumatic hinges today, and we got the steel screening today. It just arrived at the post office. So
We have all the frames, the boards for the frames we bought, and we've just painted all those.
Yeah, we
the
started
woodwork
on the
painted.
project, but we just got the real hardware, today. So that's sort of our, part one of our plan, because it gives another layer of security. Our home is the first layer, second layer is the porch. Pretty secure, we think. We don't think there's any way that she could get out at all. You have a question?
I do. Is it safe to assume that the problem of Tiger getting out isn't you taking Tiger out to go outside?
No,
It's
Correct,
getting out a door that somebody left open.
right.
it's the slider.
It's the slider. So in a sense, by what you're doing with the door, you're making like a fire door? A safety,
way.
Yeah, in a way,
sort
yeah.
of like a double door to get out?
Double door.
So, but there's been no issues taking Tiger out to go do
No,
business
that's not the
outside
issue.
and exercise or anything like that?
No,
No.
So you're
She's
saying
she's
Tiger's
actually very
never out
docile
of,
with us, so,
he's never out of your control on the leash when,
correct.
but he did go down that driveway. That was a year and a half ago.
Well,
but-
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean-
I don't know when that occurred.
I believe it happened, I just
I'm
don't,
sure
Yeah.
it did happen, but,
Mhm.
I don't know if that was when brother was still
Yeah.
home.
probably, I don't know, we had more people in the house and more possibility of a door, you know, now there's just the three of us. So anyway, moving forward, that's our immediate plan.
Mm.
And then part two of our plan, you've got us thinking, you asked last week about fencing.
Mhm.
And I said, well, you know, prohibitively expensive, the border between our property and Teresa's is a lot of property.
Mhm.
Then it dawned on us, well, this was we could fence in an area off the porch that would run from the porch across the yard and back, that would enclose both doors of the porch
And
and
the
our
back.
other back door to the house.
Well, that was kind of my question before. You mentioned that you had a pen belt, but it was quite a distance, so you always had
Right,
to
and so you
traverse
do have the
right,
kennel.
the distance to get back there, and
So we like the idea of having a fence that totally encloses her. I mean, now we have a three-part safety system. We have our home, we have the porch, now we have a fence. But we haven't gotten an estimate. We have a name, thanks to Abby, of someone to give us an estimate. We're envisioning a fence 6 feet high. I think that would be adequate. This dog cannot jump.
Yeah.
Um,
And you wouldn't let Tiger
Because they
out
should-
there to run?
Oh, no,
It's just a fail-safe.
just yeah.
Well, if you allowed us to, we would. The poor dog never gets to run. I mean, she's a dog.
this is a
Comes with
totally,
me?
no, this is a
She goes
totally
with you.
enclosed space you're talking?
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally
6 foot high
enclosed.
fence.
Yeah.
Not much different than the kennel area you have in back
Right,
then,
it's
really.
like a giant kennel.
Is the kennel closed in the top or open?
yeah, it's a retriever kennel.
Okay.
It's
So it's fine.
steel.
And
Yeah,
obviously, we
welded.
couldn't enclose a fenced-in yard over the top, but a 6-foot fence,
Hmm.
I mean, she can't jump.
What do you
She
think?
has
Can you jump
damage
6
to her
feet or-
back, her real legs.
No.
That dog,
But dig under? How about digging under?
Yeah, that was the other thing, like Abby had brought up, like maybe we would, put, rubber mats underneath it. That she's not really a digger, but you wouldn't wanna take that chance either.
well, that's
Or
what
do
we
some
had
sort
said a
of-
couple of previous hearings, we hear great fence,
Oh,
easy digging.
and then, but again, I'd rather just keep her, even if we had that fence, keep her with me.
I was just gonna ask that. She's not gonna be unsupervised or,
Right,
you know,
right,
able to dig because of the
no,
restrictions.
So we would never leave the property and leave her outside. Absolutely not.
Can I just say the dog was digging up her yard while I was in my car,
was she doing
like
the
going crazy.
back leg?
It was flying, the dirt, the grass clumps,
She
like,
does that when she goes to the bathroom too.
I would think,
But it
the
wasn't-
I think you bring up a good point, but
yeah,
rubber
that
mat thing
scared
or
me,
a line of big rocks, something to keep from
yeah.
going under, you know,
But
I'm not saying,
I don't even.
I'm
wanna
not saying
go
you
there
need
letting
to,
her
and
loose.
Abby, you're probably the expert, you know, we're not talking, maybe the fence has to go a foot into the ground or something, but that's a possibility too,
No,
as you
yeah, like we
say.
had talked, like instead of like just putting it right underneath, it'd be like 2 feet. I had thought about putting like a couple feet ahead of time, or like not ahead of time, like for it. So that way that there's a buffer and go
Yeah.
down like say 5 inches or something like
Mhm.
that.
Sure,
Yeah,
they'll give up after a while.
but again, I'm happy having her with me. She's come a long way. She's really well trained with me. She listens to everything. I mean, I can tell her heels down, stay, sit, anything. The dog will
You-
roll over.
Do you
She does
walk
it.
her?
I usually just walk her, like, we have a large property, so usually I walk her on that. We go on romps and do about 10 to 15 to 20 big circles around our property. Like, that's why I knew of that area where she always likes to go off the deer trail, because we do that. But I wasn't aware that I could go off the property with her. Now I know I can with a muzzle, so I'd probably bring her up the street to go to Mount Minnetonka
Yeah.
Trail. We used to do that a lot. She liked that.
The original requirement is that, that be muzzled whenever he's outside and off the owner's property.
Okay. So even in the yard?
Yeah, well, it's offset, says outside and off the owner's
Oh,
property.
okay.
So, but it might be a good idea just in case she gets up.
Yeah.
It's obviously,
I say that because sometimes I take care of my son's dog who's a runner and he's gone in a second, even if I got him on the leash, so I drop the leash for a second.
Oh,
it's obvious you love the dog, you're willing to go quite a bit of expense here.
Yeah.
To save the dog, and we appreciate that.
We also, Teresa, I didn't say this to you at the meeting last week, but we don't want you to be fearful. We don't want you to be fearful.
Like, I'm fearful now because I have little kids,
I've been
never mind
Eileen,
myself.
I kid you not, I have been fearful for 4 years. I saw her rip apart Rudy's throat. And on August 2nd, Rudy is in a fortress. He can't even go out in a porch, okay? I have to close the kitchen door. He goes potty, I stand there with a pitchfork, he goes back in. Normally, if I'm working in the yard, I'd have him, like if I had like the wheelbarrow or something, I'd put his leash along with it. I can't take that chance anymore. I can't take the chance. It could be next week, it could be next year, it could be 3 years from now. But do you know something? Tomorrow, the next day, I've still got to be on my toes 24/7. I don't know when she's gonna get out. I don't know when. And that time on August 2nd, if Rudy was out on his leash, he'd be dead right now. She would have ripped his throat off again. So it's my vigilance, not yours. And I want to say one more thing. You've got 3 adults in that house. It took 15 minutes for somebody to know that dog was gone. Were you watching Netflix? I mean, I'm screaming my ass off and she's coming after me. Where are you people in that 15 minutes? If it wasn't for her, I'd probably be dead.
I was afraid it was gonna kill me and I was in my
No,
car.
I just want to say one thing. When Carla said that I opened the door, when I went to her house, I opened the shed. Sorry. I opened the shed, I was looking for
She
anything, a
grabbed
rake,
the
a shovel, or
skimmer.
anything.
It was a skimmer for the
It was a
pool,
skimmer,
so I
that's
had to
all I
say
could
something to
find. I
protect
grabbed the
myself.
skimmer, we got in her car, we went to the top of my driveway. She kept going for the door. And the reason I opened, and she even said, shut the door, shut the door. If she went through my screen door, I want her to go after me. She's not gonna kill my dog. She'll kill me before she
Yeah, and I
kills
said,
my
don't
dog.
open my door because it looks like that dog is gonna kill me if it gets in my car. Because
That
it
poor
was
dog of mine
lunging
has
like
been through
crazy.
enough. I'd rather her get me. That's why I would have rushed out that car. She's not going through that screen door to get Rudy.
I'm just
He's
afraid,
my responsibility.
after that, I'm afraid to go outside with my kids or myself. I think about it, I go outside, I'm like, oh, is that dog gonna come down here? I don't know what it's gonna do.
And as soon as the cop came to the top, I looked at him, I said, and she had just gone, I said, shoot the dog. I said, I gotta go in and make sure Rudy's okay, because actually my hatchway was open too. I didn't realize that I had the, at the time I didn't realize it. I had painted the hatchway door earlier in the day and I had the doors wide open. Had I realized that, I probably would have gone in thinking that, oh my God, she got in that way. I didn't realize it until, like I said, I got in and went, oh my God, the hatchway was even open.
But you were trying to get out, I said, shut that, I said, the
I was
dog
trying to
looks like
divert
it's
her.
gonna
Like I said,
attack us.
if she
I didn't even want her outside, never mind, I would
I would've
never
gone.
wanna be
I would've gone.
outside.
You're not gonna
The
touch
way
my
that dog was being,
Get me, you're not gonna get
I
my dog.
don't know the dog, but it was very vicious that day, very.
And that's the dog that I know. I understand that is, I've had dogs that were very territorial over me and that would rip any one of you apart, okay? They're my responsibility.
Oh, we know you've had those dogs, Teresa. We dealt with those dogs for years.
Oh, Laura,
Okay,
my
okay.
dogs have never ever
Okay,
You are such a liar. I
Okay.
can't stand this anymore.
let's all just take a step back here. Let's take a step back.
My
So,
dogs have never been on her property.
That's not
All right.
true.
That's not true.
Okay,
We have a
we're not
police
li- we're
report
not-
on that.
we're not litigating
Okay,
prior things,
I'm going.
we're dealing with
You
your,
guys do whatever
your,
you want, I'm gonna do whatever I want, okay?
So,
I'm sorry, Carla.
Shelley, you've heard a potential solution from the Nelsons. What's your opinion
I
about
can't
their
take the
solution?
lies anymore.
I hate to put you on the spot, but that's why you get the big bucks. And you get the hat and the jacket and everything else, and the car.
I don't,
Does it have merit?
well, I mean, it does, but again, there's always that chance that that one time the dog can get out, so
That's
I
what
don't wanna be
scares
held
me.
to say that it's gonna be okay and that it's not,
Mhm.
or that it, yeah. So I,
Can I ask a question? Have there been any other instances in town when something like this has come up and it hasn't been the second strike and you're done? Has it ever happened before?
no, we've never had this issue before. Right?
We've had euthanizations in town.
No,
But I think, has it ever been like, there's been a bite
There
and
was-
then a repeat bite or a repeat, whatever it is, a break of rules, and I mean, people haven't gone to this extent. I respect whatever decision, I just want to put that out there.
Right. I will say, and I've had a few, and I know, Don, you sat in on a few. Lately, it's been chickens.
Yep.
I've been here for a few, and we've had people that have been bit and threatened. And the next step was muzzling, electric fence,
Right.
full fence thing. And we have not had a breakout for the second thing, which is kind of where you're going there.
right,
This is where we gave a dangerous, we set a goal, and that was broken. So that's kind of the difference right there. Okay. Don, do you recall any other?
No.
I think we've never had a second type, yeah,
No.
so, well,
When you say a second, so this is, she got loose on Teresa's property, and I do feel very badly that she feels the way she does. She apparently was very threatening. There was no bite, there was no attack, and she ran home.
right, but I think you could also make a point that the reason there wasn't because extreme care was taken, get in a car, so there was no opportunity, but there was a
Possibly.
threatening attitude, so. As
I
the
was
thing
very
Carla said as
afraid.
well,
Do I have
so,
to get bitten?
but no, please, Teresa. So,
I think if she could have gotten in my car, the dog would have ripped my face apart, is the way it was being.
okay,
And I wouldn't say that for nothing, because I love animals, I've always had animals. But I've never felt so scared and being in a car, never mind outside.
Fred, your thoughts?
Tough situation for all of us. It's been 2 years without a documented incident. This incident in question now, even the police report says nobody was attacked and nobody was injured. So those are the facts.
Mhm.
I think you guys are making a great effort to remedy the situation, taking steps to secure the dog. I am concerned if the dog gets out and I don't know the dog. I've never met the dog, never encountered the dog. So I'm just going off of what everybody's saying. It's a tough call, you know? I don't know what the right answer is right now. I don't want to put a dog down just to put a dog down. I just want to make sure the dog's secure.
Well,
Senior, more mature member.
old member, to euthanize a dog is not what I would ever want to do. I've had it put on many of my own animals. But we're just really, I'm very concerned about the situation. Obviously, he's caused great fear in your neighbors. I think there's maybe some extenuating circumstances with the dog as well, but I don't quite know what they are, but he's very responsive to you,
Oh, yeah,
you know.
I'm gonna leave now, I'm sorry.
She's also very responsive to me. She always comes when I, you know,
Led down.
yeah, and
And,
the three of us.
and you,
She's a
you're,
family dog within our.
and you seem to come up with be serious enough about this to come up with a system that may work, but again, who knows if it will, so.
Only takes once.
What?
Only takes once.
Only takes
That's
one.
what I'm afraid. For my kids, myself, they're young.
Mhm.
If something were to happen to one of my kids, the way that dog was being, I would kill it.
So. And the concern I have is that we have anecdotal reports, but we don't have any real, complaints from, and you probably didn't think about it after the incident happened, which is perfectly understandable. I don't know, so
Are you proposing any solution, or are you?
How can they ensure me that it wouldn't attack me or my little kids and rip the race apart? I don't know. The way it was being, I've never seen a dog like that, I'm just saying.
yeah.
I don't even wanna go outside unless I have a fenced-in yard now just to protect me and my kids. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but that scared the hell out of me.
No, I
I had to
understand.
calm down for half an hour after it happened. And I didn't even see it attack anything, but the way it was being so ferocious that I was afraid what it would do if it was even close to me. But it wasn't in my car.
Have you, Eileen or Laura, have you seen this behavior with the dog? I mean, have you witnessed it?
I witnessed seeing it, yeah, on the initial time where there was an attack,
Mhm.
which, that time I would like to mention, my dog did, she got punctures too, but it might have been from the pitchfork, but
Yeah.
Teresa's dog went to the vet 3 days later, and it was one puncture wound in its neck that needed a drain tube because it had healed up. But I did witness that, and I witnessed, her acting very like, rah, 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 like they can, towards Teresa's property. I have seen that, but, at the same time, like, I've worked with her a lot, but people come over to the house, she loves children. She loves kids, and, she's become very friendly. I still work with her with, like, if men come that have hats on for whatever reason, hats and
They
lingerie.
have to be reversed.
I don't know, or if they smell like alcohol. I can tell she just starts shaking. But
You think it's from her history? You said she was a rescue dog.
Yeah.
I do. I got her from a pound in Connecticut, and they didn't have a history on her. I found out afterwards.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Is she chipped?
Yes, she's microchipped. Yep, microchipped and spayed. But she's my best friend now. I mean, she listens to anything I say. Unfortunately, the day that she got out, I know Teresa said it was 15 minutes, nobody was home.
Well, I was home, but I was in my
Or
office
yeah, you
upstairs
were in
with the
your
air
office with your
conditioner running.
earpieces.
I could hear some barking, which did alert me and made me
So-
go down and say,
So it was
Yeah, look for the dog.
unattended slider, that's how she got out? or-
Yeah,
the downstairs slider onto the back porch that we intend to enclose.
my father had
left
exited
it
that.
open? or
Dad
she-
did it, we think, but we don't wanna,
That's why we're gonna
someone
make
did
it.
it, it wasn't me, I know that, cause I was working, but,
So you were working and you weren't home, and
Right, I was working at the horse farm and I happened to come home, thank God, and I heard the barking. And that's when I ran over, and that must be when they saw the dog run back.
the dog
to me.
opened the slider?
Not that I know of, no, but
we don't know.
we're locking it, yeah, we wondered that too.
When I came down from my office, cause the barking sounded, it alarmed me, because it was different. It sounded too far away, that's it. And when I came down and ran through to the back room where Tiger always lives, she lives in our back family room, which is adjacent to the porch. The slider was open this much, and so.
Well, I'd already run through the slide.
Oh, you'd already
I probably
run through, so
slammed
that,
it
forget
and
that whole
didn't
thing, so I don't know, we just don't know, but that's the only way she could have
No,
gotten out.
the slider
because-
was open,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, so, whole thing is about control. How how do we get the control so that the neighbors have no fear?
Right.
I mean, the plan you're proposing sounds great. Again, it only takes one front door being open.
I understand.
Whatever. And can they be assured that that's not gonna happen? I mean, I think if it weren't for the other incidents and you were proposing this, they're like, oh, okay, that dog had never come down your driveway, you were thinking about building this, you'd be like, yeah, great, good, because they've never seen it threatened, right? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if it weren't for the two things next to each other, we wouldn't be here. So, will what you're proposing give that peace of mind to the neighbors, like we're talking? We talked last week about what could happen. We could continue with these remedies. We could order euthanization, and you would have the right of appeal for that to leave district court done.
Yeah, district court, 10 days, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't happen immediately or something like that. You would have the right to appeal it. And I think those are really our only two options. There is no, that I've heard of, there's no reversing a dangerous dog declaration that I know of.
No,
Of course, the dog could have left town over the week, and that would have been your personal choice. But we cannot order it out. And those are the only three things that we can do here. And it's not for me to say, it's for the board to say. I'm looking for, from the board, is there a motion coming? Is there a thought? Shelley, do you want to? I know you're an animal lover. You would not order the euthanization at the absolute last resort. You know, so.
When I talked to Boston today about it, they said the number one thing is public safety.
Right.
That was their answer.
And will the methods you're talking about still give us the knowledge inside that we have done what we can for public safety? They sound good, but everybody that's come before us in the past few hearings have sounded great. And then we get a note, hey, the dog running out again. Something happened, the fence fell down, a tree fell on the fence. So,
I don't
no
feel
fence
safe.
involved.
I mean,
but would this total enclosure thing make you feel safe? Or the dog,
If there's no chance of it ever getting out again like that.
we feel, I have to say, a 6-foot fence for a dog like this seems pretty, from what the description in the picture, that dog's not jumping a 6-foot fence.
When would it
This
get,
isn't a husky.
when would it get done?
That's kind of a question here. So what are we looking at?
I don't really
timeline?
want to be outside.
I don't want
kids,
this, we're
we're
not
always
talking, this is happening in April 2024. You said things came in today.
They did,
Oh, yeah,
But that was just for the doors and windows.
that's for the porch.
That was
The
not,
fence,
that was
the
not this
fence.
total enclosure.
No,
So all you're talking here is
the porch.
containing the dog in the house and no escaping.
Right.
Right, two safety, if you think of it as a 3-part safety lock or whatever, the house primarily, the porch secondarily, and then eventually the fenced-in area off the porch. which
But
would
I'm
be-
still gonna keep her in her kennel. That's,
Right, I mean, we're still gonna do all of that. And
The
she'll
kennel
always
away from the house.
be on the leash.
yeah, I can move that kennel closer to the house.
I think if we did the fence.
That's not a problem.
It's
I
that
envision moving-
portable?
Yeah, I mean, we did
It's not
some,
easy.
but we can do
No.
it. We have a tractor. And
Okay.
if the panels come down, like Shelley, remember when you initially came, it was right off from the porch? I
Right.
had used it for, I had some mini pigs that gave birth. But we could do that again. We just have to put down, remember we did like crushed stone
right.
with, wire fencing underneath?
Oh, that's good.
And then
yeah.
I did, the
I'm a little
half-inch.
concerned how sturdy it is if it just, you can drag it. This dog sounds pretty
Oh,
powerful.
no, it's not like that. It's
Okay.
very heavy. That's
Each
just,
panel takes at least 2 people, 2 strong people to move
I'll
each panel.
look to Abby and say,
Yeah,
it's solid.
It's
heavy,
It's
right?
solid.
It's very heavy, yeah, I
It's
mean,
heavy.
it's not like,
Yeah.
it's a
it's
steel,
not a Tractor Supply, kind of like,
yeah, it's a
kind of thing.
steel
Not a little
welded
cheapo
kennel.
chicken coop
No,
thing,
definitely
no.
not.
no.
Yeah, she's not getting in and around.
anything
Shelley,
that
these are all-
businesses ever do is a little over the top.
I got a 2-part question.
Thank you,
Sure.
Abby.
Don't make this hard.
It's gonna be difficult. You're the animal control officer in town. You've seen a lot of animals, you've dealt with a lot of dogs on a daily basis. We haven't seen the dog, we don't know its mentality. Are you afraid of the dog?
When I went over to Laura's to check on the kennel, how it was being, how it was coming along, I was near the kennel, and Laura came out the door, and unfortunately Tiger was loose.
Well, I brought her with me on a leash to meet Shelley. I thought it would be.
Yeah, I don't remember her being on a leash, but she came at me, and I jumped in the kennel and slammed the door, and then swore my head off at Laura.
Okay.
So yes, I'm afraid of her.
Now, my second part is that the upgrades they're planning on making to the doors, the windows, the screening. And if they fence in the yard, a 6-foot fence, bring the kennel in to that area. Dog muzzle outside, on a leash at all times. Do you feel there's a public safety risk?
Well, yeah, because there's always that one time something could happen. That's the whole problem here,
So
that one time.
you still feel there's a public safety risk? And I guess that's what it comes down to.
There could be, I mean, there could be, just like, last week, just could be.
Scared the hell out of me and I was in my car. So I'm saying, I can't imagine being
Sorry,
out of my car and having that dog in front of me, what it was doing. It looked like it wanted to rip me apart.
But I mean, that's true of every hearing we've ever had where we come up with solutions,
Right.
fencing, et cetera. These are all to minimize. We've been fine with those in the past, but again.
Hazard mitigation. Hazard mitigation.
Right. And those are cases where it actually nip somebody's heel or something like that. And I'm not minimizing,
No.
threatening is amazing. We're very fortunate there was no human biting or anything like that, just the one with the neighbor.
Yeah, I think if I came outside my car, I wouldn't have even chanced getting out of my car. I didn't even want Teresa getting out of my car.
I guess,
We keep talking about this for.
what's the realistic expectation of getting a fence in the ground? If we say, just like a fence, I'm not speaking for anybody here, but if we say put a fence in, how soon can that get done? Within a week?
I would have to find out from the fence installation guy. I would have to get back to you with an answer.
And who's installing all the windows and the door locks and stuff like
My
that?
father and I have been doing it. He's a retired carpenter.
Um,
And I've been helping,
Yeah, she's been
I
helping.
always help. I know there's never a perfect system for anything. I mean, there's always risk.
Right.
I don't understand why you'd want to have a dog that's deemed dangerous like this.
She's our family pet.
I understand.
We love her, she loves us. We have had a multitude of wonderful
It's not
experiences.
something we haven't heard before.
Yeah,
where the
I
kids come in,
understand.
she's so protective
It's-
of us and the
I
neighbor
know.
kids like, oh my gosh.
It's just how ferocious it was when I saw it, and I don't ever deal with it.
No.
We don't
And
see
say
that.
you had a,
You said, why do you have a dog like that? We don't see that dog. I've never
Well,
seen that dog.
I don't know what
I
you
believe
normally
you.
do when it's deemed dangerous, you know what I mean?
no,
Like, I'm afraid for my kids, I'm afraid for myself. If I had a gun, I would have shot it.
That's already been said
Because,
here.
I mean, if I was threatened, that's all. If I
well, I
was,
mean, that would
if I-
be any parent. and that's
if I had to
understandable.
protect my kids and myself, but
All right. Don, your thoughts, maybe, or from the animal control officer, that she's not 100% sure this is guaranteeing public safety. If I'm summarizing.
Yeah.
Right.
We need a motion?
Yeah.
It's the public safety thing that concerns me, but, in the liability. So, I'll move that we, I'll move that we order the dog be euthanized. And, a second.
Session.
I'm a second for discussion.
And discussion.
I just wanna, I'm concerned with Don as well, public safety. I don't wanna sit here if something comes down the road, because this dog's already been deemed threat. There's really no easy way to go about it, you know, I mean, dogs mean different things to all of us. We all had a fair share. But, you know, I don't, the what ifs are the ones that would keep me up at night. And then if something were to happen, I come in front of this board again, have to explain to somebody that we didn't take action. And I think that's for the betterment of the population, the town, you have to look out for everybody. And I understand your concern too.
I don't think we want Carla coming back to us a year later saying, you
No.
had your opportunity.
If it rips my kid's face apart or anything, it cannot. If it didn't seem that ferocious when I saw it, I wouldn't have been so, you know, freaked out afterwards for a while, but just the way that thing was ripping up the lawn and coming at my car and barking crazy, it wouldn't stop. Nothing scared it. Like, what would it take? I don't know.
So sorry, one thing. If they were able to get a quote like this week on Wednesday afternoon, with that, to like put it off for another week? To get a quote for fencing, to possibly with a timeline?
A quote is not installation, that's.
No, I know,
that was
I know.
Don's point is there, we, when is protection 100%?
Yep.
Even with the fence, is protection 100%?
Agreed.
Right. So you seconded for discussion. Are you seconding like you're ready for a vote, you want more discussion?
I've said my piece. If you guys have anything to say, second it.
They have the right to appeal.
I would recommend highly that they appeal.
I think in the light of public safety and the fact that we cannot guarantee, this is the only way to guarantee it. Our hands are tied.
I think they should appeal to them and present their solution to the courts.
Right. Now, what bothers me, just hypothetically speaking here, what's happening while that's going on?
Well, we have two options. We could have the dog impounded. Or the law says that if we don't have the dog impounded, that the town, let me read it here, it says the other action deemed necessary parties, bear with me, please. It says that if the, pending an appeal by the owner or keeper, hearing authority may file a petition in a district court to request, so we'd have to file a request to impound the dog. Okay? If a municipality shall not incur liability for failure to request impoundment of the dog under the subsystem. So if we don't, if we
Request impoundment,
impoundment,
we're liable.
no, we're not.
That still doesn't make it right, just because we're not liable when the dog gets out. I mean, it's not the right thing. And like you say, you enter that request for impoundment, but if they take 2 weeks to decide on that, or you think that's a pretty quick thing?
I don't know how long it takes to
Yeah,
court to
right, so
decide.
that could still be sitting out there.
Yeah,
And who's paying the impoundment fees?
well, they have
Another paragraph?
another paragraph for that. It says that, if the owner's issue, here, it says, if the court overturns an order with euthanasia, the city and town shall pay all reasonable costs incurred for the housing and care of the animal.
So they fronted, but if they win, we reimburse them.
Right. All funds,
Right, basically. I saw the bill for the Luna charge, and that was like $2 something a week. for housing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And appealing it could take a long time. Appealing it could take a long time.
Right. Well, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of Don's motion for euthanasia, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so ordered that the dog be euthanized. I don't know if there's by such and such a date done in the, when we do that. Well, again, the only last time it happened, I wasn't on the board. And it actually was a former selectman's dog that was done. But Shelley, are you aware of any, that there's by such and such
I
a
think you should
date?
check with town council
I think
tomorrow.
they have 10 days to appeal, that's all I know.
They got 10 days to
Right,
appeal.
okay, good.
So I don't know if it's 10 days from when we issue the order or not, so
I
we'll
think so.
check with town council.
Town council, there's also that lady at the Department of Agriculture who does the
Yeah,
oversight, and this is Sherry.
Gustafson.
Gustafson, right. So get some guidance from her.
we're very sorry.
So, to that, I cannot tell you how sorry we are to do this. This has never been done in my time. But public,
It's wrong, what you're doing, I'm telling you that, it's wrong.
it
I
doesn't.
understand I understand everything you said, I can hear everything you said, so you talk very softly,
Oh,
guys.
sorry, well, it's a very second.
It's okay.
And yeah, but it's wrong, she's a good dog, to take a life. It's just not right.
It's a dog that loves her family, and I think we all understand that part. I think you
Yeah,
and
I
him.
didn't feel bad. I don't not feel bad. As scary as that dog was, I mean, it's still a living thing. I don't, I love animals. But it's not worth someone or my kids, having something terrible happen or die from it or,
Right.
my kid's skin ripped off or me, never mind
Yeah, well,
myself.
we made our
I'm more worried
decision.
about
Right.
them.
Okay.
They can't protect themselves.
Okay. So where we're gonna leave it is, we're going to, Pam, you're gonna reach out to, or with Shelley, reach out to Rose, see what we do. Do we have to formally type something up that we all sign? That might be a thing, and that starts the clock or whatever.
That's okay, well,
Okay. I'm so sorry.
but Eileen, I would encourage you to appeal.
Yes, please.
Oh, we will.
Okay. Shelley, not easy. On the other news, so the Luna situation has been taken care of by the owner having given up her rights to the dog, and you found a home for the dog.
Yep.
And we'll leave it at that, right? Right, good,
All set.
okay. And we do know that there's gonna be a need for a special town meeting warrant article to replenish the account. I think Scotty's told us about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically you're, by boarding the dog
Yes,
and all that,
okay.
so if you and Scott get together and come up with an amount, based on all the action we had,
Right,
what's proper for the balance of the year, please.
okay,
Okay, thank you.
will do. Yeah, okay, thank you.
I won't see you again until September. Thank you, Shelley.
Yeah,
Carla,
thank
thank
you.
you. for coming.
Sorry, I mean, I feel bad, but I don't want something bad to happen either.
All right. Well, let's get on to something better. If somebody wants to call Ed in.
Saw Josh.
Oh, so Becky did say they were calling this Wednesday, but she wasn't meeting, she didn't sound that about it. Because I could have put it at the house.
We'll hang on, let's see.
Sorry. Sit down.
John, how are you? Eric, how are you?
Guys.
Hey guys. Can we do James first?
Yes, I would, yeah. Keep down, up, please. Down, up, down, up.
Get my steps in.
Welcome, chief.
Thank you, it's a pleasure to be here.
I said that with a straight face too, I cannot believe it.
Good at that.
So first of all, I guess we'll introduce a new fire department administrative assistant.
For you?
Jean Faria, is her name?
Jean?
Welcome.
Bob's not here, but we did interviews and she wrote
Jean,
the
nice
top.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
From what check, even though we've met before. Thank you. Get your steps on.
We've already met, Bud, right?
Yeah, thank you. Chief, right? Okay.
So she was training with Jane for 3 weeks, I think. And now she's up at the fire station on her own, so working.
You have like a little office up there?
Table.
Table,
Table?
computer
Chair.
monitors,
Really? You have like a whole table or?
3/4.
It's in the radio room and the radios are here, Jean's here, and then the computers and stuff for the EMS is there.
And how you finding it?
I like it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dalmatians up there by her feet. It's very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to say that it was nice of the pastor at the Federated Church to provide lunch to the fire station last week.
It was,
Fantastic.
absolutely.
Oh, great. Thank you. And actually, Don and I had a chance to go down and meet him yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice, energetic young guy. We felt pretty old next to him, but
That's the way it's gonna go.
that's the way it goes with everybody. It's all true. So, great. So you're in for 15 hours, is it?
Yes.
Okay, and the schedule is what? Ballpark.
Monday through Friday, 3 hours, basically 3 hours a day.
Okay.
Is it mostly in the morning or in like
10 to 1 right
1
now.
to 1?
As needed.
Right, great.
We're just kind of trying to keep it consistent for now, and then, down the road, we might swap it up a little bit, if it has to be.
Okay. Have you found it fairly engaging, fairly busy? Okay.
Yep, it's enjoyable. It's a good amount of work.
And the staff is okay?
They're not here. They were here, previously, but they, at the time allotment, they had to go up for training.
Yeah, well, took a little longer than we thought it was going to.
No problem, no worries.
Okay. Great. Well, it was great to meet you.
Nice to meet you all.
Now the chief is gonna tell us all about,
The big expansion he's making for you.
yeah. The whole second floor is gonna be yours.
Spa included?
What?
Second floor, we're done, let's go.
Yeah.
So can I give this seat up now?
Yeah, you can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene, for coming in.
You're welcome. Do you have anything else to do?
No, I'm all set, thank you. Have a good night.
Night.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly how Pam says it to us.
I don't think so. It's more like,
Anything else?
it's more like,
What's your hurry?
it's more like, what do you want?
What do you guys do?
You know it. Forget about it. All right, hi. So, a couple quick things, let's just, so staffing, there was a question about staffing, so you had said before you're advertising for a third member, but while that's happening, you're rotating basically your per diem guys
people,
in,
yes.
which provides them more experience in what's happening.
Yes, it's, as we're bringing the younger people in, they come to our department for several different reasons. One, they're interested in firefighting or EMS. And we train them, a lot of them are paying for their own EMT school, Action also provides it. And they're allowed to go to the academy, and they gain all the credentials, and then we put them to work through shifts. So they get a chance to actually enjoy working if it's definitely something they want to pursue, and it allows them to use us as references and go on to other departments. We have quite a few that have joined area departments. And so it works out well.
But you have put something online for a new full-time person.
I waited to do it till after tonight because I never know really what's going to come out of the Selectmen's meeting. So I have the posting prepared and ready to go.
Okay.
What's the deal on the FEMA truck?
The FEMA truck, we might have to switch seats if we're going. The FEMA truck,
I mean, I know it wasn't on the agenda, but, you know, we don't mean to get you off guard here, but you did send an email saying you think there was gonna be more.
no,
needed for it.
it's not off guard, thank you. The FEMA truck we put out, and I do have Andy Netherwoods part of the truck committee meeting, I can explain in depth, but we applied for the FEMA grant, we were awarded the FEMA grant, and then the town's portion was at the town's meeting, which was approved. We went back and forth with the factory of the truck that we selected, and as we made changes, obviously the cost goes up. It's a year later, and the cost came in higher than we planned. But Andy can go over the details that the truck committee's been working on, and he is here to solidify the reasoning behind it all.
So if you'd like to know, first of all, on the committee, there was a company called Brat that we were looking for that makes the vehicles, and just so happened that Sturbridge had a truck that was interested in what we were looking at. So a couple of us, me, Pete, and Josh went out and checked out Sturbridge's truck, and we actually liked the size of it, the setup of it. There was a couple things that needed to be changed that Sturbridge definitely wish they did, and then there was a bunch of safety stuff that we felt we should do nowadays, especially OSHA standards. This isn't the old days where you climb on top of a truck anymore while you're at a fire. So first thing we all said is we wanted everything accessible, ground level, when we're at the fire scene. Nobody should be climbing up on the top of a truck or anything like that to try to get anything. Afterwards, when you're packing the stuff back, everybody's, you know, in a controlled environment, we get that. So the Sturbridge truck had a bunch of stuff on top, so we wanted to bring it down below. So we had, the sales guy from
Scott Garland?
Yeah, Scott Garland that does the Brat stuff. He came out, we met with him about 3 or 4 times, and we came up with, this is, if you guys want to see, this is sort of the layout of the style truck we were looking at there. So he had sent us the specs and everything on it, and we had gone back and forth on the truck quite a bit, because we were trying to go for, we want the truck to be a little bit more universal than pretty much a pickup truck on steroids. So we have, I don't know if you guys know, the other little squad truck that's always down at the water hole. We were trying to set this up to be the backup to it, or to assist during fires, especially. We know how the environment's changing here. Either we're drowning underwater, or we have no water. And it's harder to get that other truck down to the water hole. You know, when the river's really low or whatever, you gotta get close. You can't get the other truck down there, so we're looking at this one. So there's a few extra pieces we wanted to add to it, besides making sure, Sturbridge said, make sure all your lines and everything are down below. So there was a couple modifications we made. They sent us the list, and then we sent it back. So a couple of the highlights are probably the, if you wanna call it the bigger dollar amounts maybe that were it. We wanted to go with a 500 gallon per minute pump, and Ed can change anything. And we wanted to go off the PTO of the truck, because that's the only way you can get the 500 gallons. Sturbridge didn't have that. They took up the whole back of the truck with a separate gas-powered engine, which wasted all the space on the back of the truck to have this here. And the most they could get was between 200 and 250 gallons per minute. Plus, with the new pump technology, we can actually pump and drive, so you slow speeds, but you could drive and creep through the woods as the guys are advancing the hoses and everything.
So the one best helpful thing from Sturbridge was you were able to see a live one, basically, that allowed you to.
Plus, we had guys to interact and tell us what they didn't like and what they did like,
What they
and things
changed,
like that.
if
and
they
what
did it
changed.
again. So it's good, so you didn't. So you had a chance to spend your money wisely, if you will, because they already did the hard work for you. This is what we would have not done.
And a couple modifications we made is, we didn't want to have to climb up on top of the truck like we do another one to get all our rakes and everything. So if you look on that picture, you'll see the roll-up doors are longer. So the rakes, we can get everything from the ground. And then also we set it up so you can have hose and stuff on the top. In case we're getting these driveways that are way up in the woods. You can pull up with this truck and be able to actually, you know, aggressively attack a structure, you know, a structure fire before it's out of control.
Right.
So that's what we were looking at, plus we also, the other piece was we added the 2 booster reels down below.
Mhm.
And then the other option that I talked with the other guys is we wanted to get roll-up doors for those. Most of them don't come with that. We wanted it because, hey, if we're driving this thing in the winter, we're doing anything, it's to stop the snow, the salt, and the rust from sitting inside the cab, inside the compartment and rotting it out. And I think the last other piece we added was some extra scene lighting on it, because when you're out in the woods, you can't see anything. So we wanted extra scene lighting, but we also set it up so we didn't have to spend extra money on brighter backup lights. We set it up so all the controls for it are inside the cab to try to save money, just like we went with the least amount of lights and everything. I mean, I have the whole section where we went through the whole pump section and everything. So to do all that, we were trying to make the best truck we can for this town that we can get 30, possibly 40 years out of it, instead of going with just a basic steroid pickup truck. Problem is with the pricing of everything, it came out to, and correct me, like around 270,000, is that what it was?
Yeah, between 270 and 275. The dealer hasn't given us their service and delivery fees yet.
So is this based on F-Series chassis?
This is an F550, so we can carry the weight and everything of it. Plus, it's, if you wanna call it, it's like a dually size, except it's got they took the dually and put bigger single tires on it, and they also put a, I can't remember if it's a 2 or 2
inch
lift kit. So they added the lift kit. So just the loan, I mean, I did the best I could online. Just the loan for a Ford 450 XL, like work truck, dually with the basic functions on it, you're looking at $67,000. So
in this here, you got listed the gears, these are pretty steep gears.
yeah, we're not
it's
looking
for
for
climb,
speed.
right.
Yeah, we're looking for climbing, we're looking to go through the woods, as you can see on that one, we even it's got a wrap around the fender type thing for extra protection.
How does this compare to the brush truck now? Is it gonna be as mobile? Because obviously the brush truck is
Well, this
tiny
truck,
now.
this truck is,
It's gonna replace that.
yeah, we went with a regular cab,
Yeah.
8-foot bed, so the other problem we had was getting this to fit inside the garage bay. So we made a lot of adjustments and took a lot of things. We're talking, we got like 4 inches with adjusting the truck to have between this one and the one in front.
That
But we're able to
the
get it
question
in,
I had was that it is gonna fit in the bay.
it will fit in the bay, we made sure we'll get it to fit in the bay.
It's obviously not as narrow as the truck we have
Right,
now.
and it's none of them are.
But for the universal of the mobility of it aspect of where we can use it as several different calls instead of just parking this brush truck and it's only a brush truck.
Yeah.
This will be used as several different calls, several different occasions. It's gonna have that night scene to where we can bring it and
You
get
can
it.
just slot it in
Sturbridge
different
had one?
places.
Sturbridge is the one
Does
we went
anybody
with
else
that.
around here have a brush
This-
truck like that?
Not this particular brand and style we were
Mass
looking
does,
at.
Now,
Huh?
but
does
not in the immediate area.
Hampden ever get called for mutual aid with the brush truck?
Yes,
And
all the time.
this will handle
yeah.
mutual aid anywhere?
And
So basically, you're saying this is going to, the number you had before, which was in the 230s, now it's in the 270s, so an extra 40,000 from the town is gonna be required to get this truck.
that's what we're
Yes.
asking for, yeah.
What do they think is delivery on the truck
1 year.
from the time of order?
We figure, I mean, if you think about it, you're spending a total of $60,000 and you're getting yourself a full-blown, like,
Yeah, almost
as I showed you, a pickup truck, really,
Yeah.
you're paying for a pickup truck, but by the time it gets here, it's probably a $300,000
Plus
truck
the
with
33
everything else.
Ground clearance.
Yeah.
and tires.
Oh.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, you're getting all
The
that.
part, the FEMA part, do they pay for it after we receive it? Do they front it?
We
Are
get,
we have to front the whole thing and get reimbursed, you know?
whatever the town's share is, we have to pay. So if we need 40,000, we would have extra, we'd have to come up to 40,000.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying the part FEMA's paying, do they?
Yeah, so once we get the received invoice from Brat, then we would forward it to FEMA and they would pay it.
Okay,
So we're not
all
front.
right, it's not front,
Right.
that's good, that's good. Assuming they still have money.
Hope so.
Well, they're paying out Hawaii, the place right now.
Get her order in fast.
Yeah. So we appropriated so much at the Springtown meeting, we're gonna need a second warrant article for an additional amount.
Yes, because we can't place an order without it,
Okay.
knowing that we have the money to back it.
But we don't know what the new amount is yet.
Right, so I guess we're asking for a placeholder at the special town meeting.
Okay, when do you think you'd have the final number?
If, you know, if it's okay, we can go ahead and pursue this, we'll find that out this week.
Well, I hate to ever turn down, I mean, we still have a grant from the fact that we're pushing it back a little bit, the grant's not, no danger of being.
No, we can file for extensions.
And they grant them typically.
Yeah,
Okay.
especially during COVID and all that, they know supplies are still kind of backed up.
Alright, so is the board in favor of endorsing the request for additional funding for a better truck?
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess can't beat you up any more than that. Andy, thank you for the work you and your committee did. Yeah. What color? Maybe I know we didn't talk.
Hopefully red.
What
Hopefully red.
about fire engine?
Who knows what color,
Two.
maybe COVID does it out.
$10.
No, bright green, bright
Renovation.
green or yellow or staying traditional?
Yeah.
I'll wait till everybody's paying attention.
Okay,
I asked a question.
yeah, about the truck two.
Yeah, truck two.
All right, so, engine two, the removal of the generator and the hydraulic equipment is, we're gonna address that as soon as the truck committee finishes up with the truck, the brush truck. That is because I'm taking the same people, they did an excellent job. I'm gonna move them to that project. They're gonna start specking out the lighting and stuff for it, and we'll go from there. Because I wanna get as many parts in as we can before we start a project like that.
Okay,
Great.
what's your plan?
My plans, I drew a picture of my vision of the fire station, the way I think it should look. It's a little bit different than John's vision. But I've included a copy of the original so you could see a comparison of them.
So this is door one, this is door two,
Yep,
and then you do three big things here?
yes, instead of two, I'm proposing
Chop that
three.
off there?
Yes, exactly,
So we're putting a highway department on
And
the
put
side.
like 3 highway department garages there.
exactly. We have 4 bays now, so we're pretty much only asking for 1 additional bay, because we're getting rid of the one out back.
Oh, you are?
The one that's on the
So you're
side.
gonna convert that into?
The firematic area, that'll be the turnout gear room.
Okay.
So, but these would be 5 across.
5 across the front.
I know this is like you're just sketching it. Would these be wider? It seems like we talked before about the spacing in between.
Yeah, this is just a sketch, it's not the scale, so those 3 doors would be wider.
Right. It seems-
What I did is I took the Mitchell Associates drawing of the 5 bay, which was 87 feet and 4 inches, and I measured it out in front of the station, marked it out to make sure it would fit before I drew it up. This is just a visualization of what I think,
You got all the detail in there and the trim work and everything.
I know, it's right,
Look at, he's got the,
huh? Spelled right too and everything.
I think that makes the most
Yeah.
sense though. I mean,
Yeah,
if
I mean,
you're,
it's kind of where we were going with our thoughts anyhow, right?
Everybody said the best access is North Road. Yeah. Anything back here,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Secondary, but it solves.
so how do we get this to someone to give us
I think we go out to,
a real quote?
I'd like to, I put a call into WJ Quinn to see if they could, chat with Ed and, you know them, of course, and they do this type of commercial construction. Just to get a ballpark. Okay, you had a job like this. What do you think it would take? Again, we talked before, it's not the highway department, but it's also not 10 times the highway department.
can we put a bid out there and not act on it if it comes back to crazy numbers? I mean, we put something out there and just see what
We
we
can
get.
go out for an RFQ for our request for, RFP actually instead. Yeah, just like we're doing for we have to walk through for the senior center today.
That'll probably give us the most realistic numbers than any of the reports that have been done.
Yeah.
I think that's
you
what we
know,
need, because
Do
the numbers out
you
there
have anybody
now.
on your staff that can do that? Because I will tell you, Gary did a bang-up job for the senior center one. He's got a lot of experience in that type of thing, Gary Weiner.
Oh, the RFPs?
Oh, yeah. Like I say, the one he did for the senior center, perfect. Good. you know, 4 different companies show up today for the walkthrough, all very interested. So if you want him, we could reach out to him. Sure.
Yeah, just so.
So to simplify it, you're thinking the 2 additional bays on the right, increase the size of that 3rd bay, so it matches these 2 additional ones, and you're gonna get rid of the one in the back and use that for the
Fire mag,
Fire mag.
yeah, so whatever was in that, in the blueprints or drawings, I should say, it showed that area as a turnout room, so that would alleviate having to leave that parking area open, because as we expand that, we're losing parking, so
So
alleviating
you can park
that
back
back one, we'll have more parking spaces.
Sure.
We could even extend the parking lot if we had to. And it only makes sense to have the parking there if that's where indeed the turnout room was gonna be, because that's where people be pulling in, parking and getting, going, getting the turnout gear on and getting into apparatuses.
I mean, as far as parking goes, I mean, you can go all the way back to DPW.
Right.
It's all,
So much for the state, so much for the hot dog roast.
yeah.
Great idea.
We're doing an RFP?
I think, get together with, Gary, bring it back to us. We meet again in 2 weeks. If you could give us an update at our first meeting in September, and the board can endorse it then at that point. Go out for it. Great work. And your committee's gonna be working on truck 2. Great. Good plan. And now you got Gene there to crack the whip and keep you guys going. That's right.
Maybe at the next meeting, we could talk about also the minimum pay, 2-hour pay for calls.
Sure. Come back
Put
with a
that on
plan
the
and look at
agenda
your
too.
budget, please.
I have Gene working on that now, so
There we go.
I just wanted to thank you for writing that down, Pam.
Yes. Great. All right. Thank you all.
But she throws the paper away after, he just does that.
This is for show.
Thank you.
Mark,
They're not getting
you
that.
got one, now you, Mark. You got 1 minute. Mark, you got 1 minute. Craig's got to leave. Hi, Mark. Mark Langone, Highway Superintendent. How are you, sir?
Good.
I gotta say, his crew was out there doing Main Street today with that articulated arm. That thing is the
Oh,
bomb.
I saw them going.
You know, doing the, on the other side of the guardrail, they're doing the trimming with that articulated arm thing. What a joy that is. Jeez.
I think it opens up the field of view, it does a nice job, a clean job, and,
Much safer for the guys too,
oh, absolutely,
no question.
yeah.
So we had bid openings for road work?
Yes, for FY '24 road resurfacing and related work. Last Wednesday, here in the office, we received and opened 3 sealed bids. And I sent out the breakdown, and lowest bidder was Precise Paving. They're out of Brimfield.
Okay.
They're making an aggressive move towards municipalities. They've actually been highly recommended from people I've talked to that are in the business. They do a lot of work for the gas company. They did submit several pages of references. I did speak with the owner last week, and tentatively, you know, we made plans to review the streets, and he was very amenable, you know, about getting us down to where we need to be.
Sure, okay, so you mentioned in your letter here that obviously the bid came in higher than you figured because the state is now changing the material used for paving to super pave. Great marketing.
So
plan.
since a lot of the work is being done through, you know, grant type programs, Chapter 90, other kind of funding from the state, so the state is always requiring this super pave. Basically, it's not so much of a different type of asphalt, it's more like quality control that goes into the making of it, testing, and, you know.
Look, as long as it's not radioactive like Florida's paving, that's fine.
That I know of, no.
Wasn't there something putting glass embedded in there?
I did hear something about that. I did hear something about that too, yes.
Okay, so you're gonna, looks like you're gonna try and working in with funding you have, and keep it going.
Correct, so,
So
you know,
we
we'll
need
be looking at where some fat may be trimmed. And, you know, we'll just need to work together to make up some ground there.
Okay, well, we want to get moving on, I'm sure. that
Absolutely.
A lot of companies or a lot of communities are looking to start their projects, so we
Sure.
want to not be on the eight ball. I'll entertain a motion to endorse these highway superintendent's recommendation to award the bid to Precise Paving for $561,835.50. They wouldn't waive the 50 cents?
I didn't ask, it's just a weird number, they're all kind of weird.
So move the second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome,
It's been
thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
We are so sorry.
Oh, Mark, one
Yes,
quick
sir.
thing, so this last storm, how's the roads doing?
Last storm.
Yeah,
Roads
yeah.
are, well, you know, we are getting some washouts on the edges of the road that we've been tending to. All in all, though, I'm very impressed with the town's drainage, both the country drainage out this way, you know, and our pipe systems out this way. Very impressed with how the town's been draining off.
Compared to some other stories from
Absolutely.
other towns, yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah, great. Thank you. We can report when Bob,
Mark.
Mark, when Bob comes next week or week after, we can talk about the great meeting we had online.
Okay.
Yeah, that was on the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
Another great,
People, yeah.
40 people.
Which bridge?
Rockadundy.
You're still-
40 people on the Teams call.
All right.
What a,
Did you come up with
hello.
Hi.
Hi. We
Lane,
are so sorry.
Oh,
Lanny?
no worries.
Lane Wilder.
Glad you guys
quite the
let me
evening.
come tonight. Yeah, it's been quite the evening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Must see TV.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah, let me grab my folder out quick. But my name's Lainey Wilder. I'm the executive director for Opakam Land Trust, who
Okay.
we are a regional land trust
out of
working.
where?
Our office is in Brimfield, and then we work in the 14-town region around Brimfield. So as far east as Sturbridge, and then as far west as Hampden, and as far north as Brookfields and Warren and whatnot. So,
Great.
and then we don't go past the Connecticut border too much. We might have one spot where we have like 5 acres in Connecticut, but we mostly operate in Massachusetts. And we're a land conservation organization, meaning that we protect land in our region, both in Opakam owning land or Opakam holding the conservation restrictions or assisting with conservation restrictions through different grant fundings like this one in your town here.
How many acres do you have under your control right now, would you say?
So both in fee as we own it and CRs that we hold, a little over 2,000 acres.
Okay.
And we've assisted with about 1,400 acres, meaning different grant fundings, helping towns, helping either private landowners get protection of their land and the state holds it or things like that. So we are trying to do good in the area through conserving land. Yeah.
How long have you guys been around?
Since 2000, we formed in 2000 and been with our first project in Sturbridge, Opakam Woods, named after us, and it's kind of our nameship property because that's where the salamander that is on our logo and whatnot and started our land trust was found and then was protected and at that site. So yeah.
And we have the co-chairs of the Conservation Commission with us. Ted, Judy, hello.
Back her up.
You're in favor of it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
As is the land trust,
As is the
which
land trust as well.
initially looked at this as a possibility with the
Sure.
Forest Legacy program.
So, this is, obviously, we had a little review of this before, and this is the property to the west of the two properties, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so. this-
there's a map in the back.
Right, but I mean, you had the two properties abutting each other. Was the other one Mackenzie or something?
Mackenzie.
Right,
Mackenzie and Morton.
okay.
And I brought, oh, okay, I see you got the fact sheets I sent, so excellent, yep.
We're concerned about the Rattlesnake Hill part. Obviously,
Cause of the snake, I was like, cause of the snakes? What snakes?
What snakes? Yeah, right. Are you protecting them too?
Well, technically the state protects them. Rattlesnakes are protected in Mass.
That's a state for you. We don't get our money for the sidewalk.
Yeah, we protect a lot.
We get no
Really
sidewalk
funny.
money, but boy gosh, the rattlesnakes, they get
There aren't
everything they
really
need.
very many rattlesnakes, so.
Believe it or not.
Oh, jeez. So we don't mean to, I know we dragged you out late here, so.
Oh,
I'm
no
sorry.
worries, yeah.
And I'm sure you got a great spiel you'd like to give us.
I'm happy to be quick for you guys, so, yeah.
Excellent. How do you feel about it?
Go ahead.
You had us at hello, I'm just saying, you know, it's that- Any questions for this witness?
What are we doing here?
Yep, so through the force,
Are we signing something, or are we?
not tonight, I just wanted to bring you guys up to speed on where we were with the grant, that we're working on implementing it on these 2 different properties, answer any questions you might have. Just because in the end, the town will be holding the conservation restrictions on the properties. So I'll be coming back around in maybe a year to get signatures.
We'll still be talking about dogs and
Why does the
Yeah.
town have to hold the CR?
It was part of the way this grant works. It's usually state or town holds the conservation restriction, and I started with Opake about 2 years ago, and this grant was before I started, so I believe Ed Hood had come before the select board, whoever was there.
2015 is.
2015? Yeah,
And
okay.
the papers were signed.
I
in
remember it like it was
2019.
yesterday,
Yeah.
Judy, thank you so much.
The grant papers were signed in 2019.
That's why I love
yes.
that's why I like the Zoom so much. Go look back.
Yeah.
So in order to get the grant, the town has to hold the CR.
Yeah, essentially that's what we agreed to in doing the grant, when we applied for the grant, so.
And what is your plans? And I know you have it listed out here, but what's the plans to do the property?
What do you mean?
Like, you do a lot of hiking trails and walking and
Passive recreation.
Passive recreation, correct.
Do you plan to develop more passive recreation, or just kind of let it do its own thing and let people cut their own trails?
So the one property of Mr. Morton's property, that will stay owned by Mr. Morton and his family. And if they would like to allow public access, they certainly can, but it'll be on private land. I think he's willing to and would like to have some trails there, so, but it would be up to him to decide that once we go through this. But the other side, the Mackenzie parcel, once we complete the conservation restriction on the land, they are willing to sell to Opakam. So it will, Opakam absolutely wants to have public trails on that side of the
That's what
mountain.
they said at the last meeting, that property was gonna be developed for more passive.
Yes, exactly,
The
so more
other part
trails.
would be more like the Kitty Farm and the Dickinson Farm. They're just held by individual people, but the land is protected and what they can do on
And
it.
I know you guys know my reservations about, the town holding private property CR.
That's why
we're not
one
gonna do
reason-
anything with it.
And that's one reason she's here, to talk about
Well,
it.
we do a lot. We protect all of our animals and our water.
Right, but personally, I don't feel the town should hold the CR for a property that has no value to the town. We don't, it's private property, we won't own it, and if it's not gonna be developed for passive recreation, why is the town holding the CR? I can see the aspect, the other one, you're talking about the Martin property, and where they wanna sell it back to Opakam and then use it for whatever, I think that sounds like a good idea. Those are my concerns, maybe that will change in the course of the year as things go
Well,
on.
If you, on the maps that you have, when you see all the orange properties that are privately owned land under CR, all of those are mutually monitored by the Concom and either Audubon or the Land Trust. So we're already doing a lot of properties. It's something we do.
But again, it gets back into, they're not making any more land. And
That's
are
right.
we hamstringing the ability of the town to develop in conjunction with, obviously, protection as well? Is this taking developable land out of the mix?
No, Morton
Okay.
is, well, in fact, she can tell you more details, but he's squeezing all the possible developable pieces off the edges of this property. It's the part that's wet and
rocky and steep
rocky.
and rattlesnakes,
It's
so.
not unlike, John, it's not unlike the lower Chapin Road that.
Yeah, that we
several
just
lots
signed
around
off,
the
yeah,
street,
basically.
The rest of it, the builder decided it's not worthwhile doing all that
Sure.
terraforming,
Right.
money-wise, it's
Mhm.
just, in this case, it's a mountain, well, a hill
Mhm.
by Western standards, but to try to build houses up there is
Well, no,
not.
but so that begs the question, and I only do this being a devil's advocate, then why do we need to? If it couldn't be developed anyhow, why do we need a CR on it to restrict it?
Well,
for
that's,
conservation?
it's partly up to the homeowner. The property owner wants to
Mhm.
sell it.
Right.
Doesn't want, especially not Morton, but the other one, wants to
Mhm.
sell it
Mhm.
and wants to sell it to someone who's gonna take care of it and make it usable.
Mhm.
So instead of just sitting there.
No, I'm fine with the Mackenzie one, because like you
Right.
say,
Yeah.
it's gonna be the other property, I know, Rush, you're on, but I mean, I guess kind of the question, what's in for the town?
Yeah.
If it wasn't gonna be developed anyhow,
It's just another thing we gotta follow through on.
Yeah.
right, you know,
Well,
if
it
there's a,
protects Thrasher Brook for one thing, which is a really nice fishing brook. And he does allow access to that for fishing.
and that will be in the restriction, that there's public access to it?
No, that's
But again,
still
it's not
on his
private
private property.
Right,
It's not unusual, however, when people set stuff aside as a CR, that eventually they sell the part that's conserved, or they donate it to the town, or
Mhm.
they do, so I think it's not unlikely the town could ever own that land, but right now it would remain with Morton.
Yeah.
I don't feel the town should be in the business of buying it
Yeah.
without, with the,
without a stated
Typically,
purpose,
it's
without a
been
stated
donated.
without
purpose,
purpose,
yeah,
yeah.
right.
Typically, we get a grant and it's been donated, but this will be, under a federal grant.
Yeah, and it'll be no cost to the town. It's all federal funding covering the due diligence
Mm.
and everything. At the end, the landowner is being paid for
Mhm.
a portion of the value of the CR, and that will come through the town. So it'll come from Forest Legacy to the town and then to the landowner. So there's that step that we need some help from the town to work through in this grant, but yeah, otherwise.
Okay, so tonight is pretty much FYI at this point?
Yeah.
Or giving
Yep,
us the
just wanted to-
411 on it, okay.
Yep, just want to make sure that you guys got a chance to, ask any questions you had on this. Look over I know the restrictions got tons of edits and it's kind of
Right.
messy. That's how the state wants us to hand it to them. It's not my fault, but I
They
wanted.
wanna see the revisions.
They want to see the revisions,
Right,
exactly.
sure.
So, I just want to make sure to bring it up on your radar again, so that if I, came back for signatures, there's not any real hooks or any concerns or something that we didn't have a chance to discuss.
You're assuming we're gonna remember this a year from now?
Well, it's another reason we're reminding you, because
Yeah.
everybody had forgotten that they agreed to it in 2019, and so.
Well, that's the whole thing.
Kind of has.
So,
Not all of
and the other one, was
Yeah,
the other one
but the papers
happen
were
before
signed, I mean,
this,
grant
or
application was
property,
signed by
or-
the select board.
Yeah, I think they can happen at different paces, and
Okay.
so the Mackenzie one may go through a little quicker, just because it's some, I don't know, how do you say, a little bit of an easier property, a little more straightforward is what I
Okay,
want to
sure.
say.
All right.
Morton, we have some other things to work through with it, but essentially that one could come through first, and then Opakam would be very interested in getting a trailhead developed, having some trails opening up so that the public will be able to come out and enjoy the property. So,
And since that's gonna be when they do the bridge in Rockadundy, the drive around is through Chapin, so you could put up a little stand there and sell things to the traffic that's coming through.
Well, I'm quite sure she'd come back if, after you
Yep,
guys look at this stuff
absolutely.
in a month or two or
Uh-huh.
something, it's.
Hopefully, we'll put you first on the agenda next time, okay?
What's the
No
ETA, I don't know if you just said, I'm sorry, for the Morton property there, what's the ETA? that you-
well, it really depends on how certain parts of the grant go. I'd like to get it through in the next year,
Yeah.
but we
So,
have,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off. Both properties are contingent on the same grant?
yes, they're on the same
So you
grant.
can't get just one without the other?
That's right, it's a 75% of the cost is covered by the Forest Legacy part.
Mhm.
And that was applied for together with some other parcels that are in Connecticut. It has
Yeah.
to be a
So,
chunk of land.
so we
that's
can't just
big.
say, okay, we like this one because
No, we
they're gonna be purchasing the property. with the
Because
other
it's a
one.
forest
So it's all-
preservation
all
thing,
or
so the
nothing.
idea
So
is to have a
both
lot.
properties have to be
forest.
signed.
Yeah,
Because
we'd like that.
this adjoins a property in Connecticut, right? It's part of this.
You mean it, like, is there conservation property
Yeah,
south of it?
isn't there a piece that's in Connecticut?
Maybe, but unfortunately, my, my vision sometimes stops at the
Okay,
Connecticut
alright.
Yeah, I
border
can see that on the map.
because of the
Right.
state. I'd have to look at a map to remember, but there might be some conservation land abutting one of the parcels there,
I
but
thought there
have to
was in
relook.
one of the
Okay.
discussions, so that's why.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't remember if
Okay, great.
I brought that, but yeah. Yeah, so I mean, I am happy to answer any questions. If things come up, please let me know. I can come back and chat with you guys some more if you have specifics. It's all good.
Yeah.
Or if you don't, like, that's
good too.
That's good too, and
That's
we'll
good
work
too.
through the grant.
The
Like I
next
said,
thing likely to come through is that EOMF that you said I could work on, the mitigation
Right.
grant.
Yeah.
That helps to cover that other 25% that the federal government doesn't cover. And we're likely to get that, it would be submitted, we hope, in October. So we would know, I don't know how soon after, pretty soon. The one we got for Westbrook came through in just a few months.
okay, great. Yeah, and again, OPECM's here to help if we're here to help you with any of that mitigation funding too, to just simplify things and keep things moving forward for the program, so.
Great.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Any more questions for this witness?
No.
Are those flyers in here?
You
So
have a printed out copy, that's a
Yeah,
nice
these are
one.
nice.
I
You should
will.
take the nicer ones, because I have too many in my office, so.
No, it's
There
our
you
problem.
go.
Great. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Happy to come and talk.
Any opinion on the dog hearing, just leave it with Pam.
Sure. I won't.
I was.
You guys had to do what you had to
I
do.
wonder
Seriously.
where she is on
Okay.
this thing with the dog. Yeah.
So we have the town administrator report, even though the
Yeah,
town
got it.
administrator is on his way to Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah, huh? So let's see, they're
Obviously
advertising.
being paid too much.
Take care, Judy.
Don't
I
even-
mean, at least in
Train-
some
say that.
ways.
Okay, they're advertising for the vacancy at the transfer station. Training for laser fees is
Thank you,
complete
Lanny.
or ongoing, I think mostly complete, I would say, yeah. The DOT webinar was a thing of joy.
I could not believe.
40
the
people,
on that
oh,
list.
oh, my soul.
It's on Rockadundy.
Rockadundy Bridge, yeah, and, yep,
And
they're
don't
down to, no, they had 3 alternatives, then they came up with a 2A. I'm like, oh, there's a 4th one now. So, yeah, so anyhow. And none of them got into, we could just fix it without closing the thing. No, because then nobody makes money. All right. On the planning board thing, I think I had shared with you, I know I shared with the planning board. I'm interested in submitting an application for the associate member. Okay, and as I told the planning board, I actually did serve both on the planning board and the select board at the same time back in 2005, 2006. As my term on planning had not expired when I was elected to the select board.
Yeah.
The state said that was fine because the select board does not have oversight over the planning board. So I did have to get a ruling at that time. Right now, they have nobody
For associate.
for associate, right? This would give them the opportunity to, this would require a joint meeting. And they are anticipating that solar thing is gonna be coming forward, and it would be important to have an associate if needed for,
Glendale Road?
right,
Yeah, a butters got notified of something happening.
so.
We haven't seen any documentation, but
So when, at the next planning board meeting, I think they'll formally vote to endorse a joint meeting for appointment. I'll bring cookies. Bob is working on applications, I hope he'll have something back since he's not here this week. I don't know if, I assume he's checking his email overseas and stuff like that.
Applications for administrative
Applications,
assistant, you're
yeah.
saying.
Right. I did see the ad in the Times, I did not see it in the reminder. Don, you check the reminder for so, yeah. So, I would say those just went out this week, you know, Bob said there'd be a little latitude maybe on the drop dead date for applications, since they didn't get it in at, as quickly as we needed. Park and Rec is doing their thing, good luck finding a chair down there. And I think that's it, I saw a couple things. I see his list, I mean, we just talked about, make sure he adds that fire truck.
Fire, yes.
Right, yeah. We had a meeting for the senior center building committee today, and a walkthrough went very well, like I say, 4 firms showed up. And, that's it for my committees. Oh, done.
I got fiber optic committee meeting on Thursday. We're gonna run through our brief presentation, go through some questions and answers, and there's a flyer on our website for the event we're having on September 7th.
Okay.
Nothing to report.
All good on the
Haven't
hip.
built a new school yet? You guys haven't
We
decided?
haven't built a new school yet.
Okay. Any comments from the crowd? John?
Motion to adjourn.
Just wondering,
He made a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, thank you. Thank you all. Have a good 2 weeks. We're not meeting next week.
We're not meeting next, oh, we have the joint one. next.
Joint, we have the regional selectmen's meeting.
On the 29th.
29th, Tuesday, yep.
After meeting question, but when we take land that's being taxed now and taking it off the tax rolls to convert it to something that has limited use in the town, are we shooting ourselves in the foot by doing that?
Well, I mean, the town's not owning it per